Nestling in the heart of Halifax, West Yorkshire, is Dean Clough Mills, a nationally renowned centre for business and the arts. Dean Clough Mills was once the world's largest carpet factory, run by the famous Crossley family. Now it accommodates over 150 businesses, as well as providing studios and galleries for over 20 artists. This film takes a look at 8 of these artists and their work. All specialists in their own field, they create a diverse and prolific range of creative media. Doug Binder was one of the artists who played a major role in establishing the mill as a centre for the arts.
When I first came to Dean Clough through Ralph Grattan, who I taught with at Bradford. He was a printmaker. We were both on printmaking. I was asked to come in, but I was asked if I would handle a fine art side rather than printmaking. So he said to me one day, why don't you come over and see what we do? You know, I said, well, it sounds interesting, you know. So I came over. Sir Ernest Hall came along, who was Ernest Hall then, who owned and bought Dean Clough a few years prior to this. And I said, what you're really missing, you know, is an art gallery here. Because I'd just been at South Square running that for 4 years. Do you want to do it? I said, what? He said, do you want to run a gallery here? I said, yeah. He said, all right. It was fixed in 10 minutes. I started on the enterprise allowance scheme, which meant I had to start with £1,000. I didn't even have £1,000, so I had to borrow it from my mum. With this, I had to start a series of shows. I got an interest in modern painting at that time, as I still have, of course, but it was happening with the students, it was happening with some people in the Yorkshire area as well. And what I wanted to do was to bring the older people in who'd, who'd be perhaps showing on a regular basis, but also to balance that with people who'd never exhibited before. I also wanted to introduce the idea of outsider artists into the mix, really. Outsider artists being those that are untrained, of course, who can produce really fantastic work. And so we put on one of the first exhibitions in Yorkshire of outsider art.
Surrealist Chris Vine studied textile design at Bradford College of Art in 1965. He went on to take a Peace Studies degree at Bradford University. He then went to Carlisle to take up a lectureship in drawing. After that, he moved to London to join the Cockpit Theatre, where he merged art and theatre. Surrealism as a medium particularly fascinated Chris.
I became more and more interested in surrealism, and I looked at artists like René Magritte and Roland Topor and Dali, of course.
Painter Jake Attry took a foundation course at York School of Art in 1966. He then went to Liverpool University to study for a BA course in art and design. In 1977, he studied at the Royal Academy School for an MA. Jake realised his passion for painting as a boy.
Well, having been born in York, I live in this West Riding, I live in Saltaire, which is a very different landscape. When I was about 13, I remember my father used to bring home a publication by, I think it was Purnell, called Knowledge. And I remember very, very specifically, one edition had John Constable in it. But that confirmed my decision that that's what I would do.
Illustrator Chris Mould studied interior design at Batley Art College. He then went to Leeds Polytechnic. After leaving college, he became a freelance illustrator. Chris was always fascinated by cartoonists and was particularly drawn to Gothic imagery. He prefers to work with a biro.
As a student, I was really interested in the cartoon tradition in this country. I was interested in pen and ink, the tradition of black and white cartoon work, the discipline of drawing generally.
Matt Howarth studied jewellery at Jacob Kramer in Leeds. After realising the subject wasn't for him, he took a post as a trainee animator in Leeds. He taught himself to animate in 3D, using the company's computers and software after hours. Matt had been inspired by films he had seen in the early days of computer animation.
I'd always enjoyed Disney, of course, you know, and when I first started animating, there's a chap called John Lasseter he set up a company called Pixar, who you may have heard of, and a long time before they did Toy Story, they did a film called Luxor Jr., which is about a baby Anglo-Poise lamp, and I was just blown away by that.